Welcome to a muzzled chat. Welcome to the studio. Whether for the first time or what are we, over 100 episode, even if it's for the 100th time, welcome. Lots of heavy hitting things to dive into today. I'm going to try to do my best not to get too ramped up. It becomes a challenge when you're exposing evil's hand. You're literally witnessing the torment and torture and the suffering of beautiful people all over the world. Even looking back in history in the past, so much needless suffering has taken place. And at the root of it, it's all evil, nefarious doers. But as I hope to expose it so we can seize this moment in time and address these issues and put a stop to the perpetuation and the continual deterioration of not just our nation state, but all over the globe. Where's your precipice? When is enough for you? Because what's wild for me is we've uncovered some things. I was in deep discussion just last night with a close friend regarding that water engine that gentleman created in the 80s. Like, let's just go there. The evidence supports this wasn't a snake oil salesman. That he in fact created an engine that ran on any type of water. Seawater, tap water, distilled water, lake water, just water. And I love that it kept the essence of like a muscle engine. But anyway, that's beside the point. It was beyond revolutionary. It was more efficient. It would have been such a great blessing to everyone, not just in this nation, but across the globe. An insane blessing where he stated that on 22 gallons he could go from coast to coast here in the States, from freaking California coast all the way to the East Coast, like New York. 22 gallons of water. Fact, this man was offered billions and turned it down. Let's just look at the facts. He was on multiple news stations. He had family that was involved. More than likely church folk that was involved. Town folk. There was a lot of people that knew this man, saw his work, witnessed this buggy and vehicle for themselves. You can see it on the countless news reports that were done. Like there was crowds. And I want to capture the evidence and the facts. Now, if there's information about this man that I have yet to find, because there's nothing really supporting anything that this man did not break through. He filed all the patents. He had a working engine. And this is the biggest thing about it. It wasn't exclusively an engine build out that like Toyota's trying to do right now. It was a conversion kit for like $1,500 or something that we would have been able to purchase add to our vehicles and convert them into water drinking machines. So it was more revolutionary than a new Tesla line type vehicle, but agua, H2O, whatever, water based. It was a kit. We could have modded out the current inventory and stock and vehicles we have already possessed. Now think on it for a bit. This was going to disrupt big things, not just big oil, like economies, governments, like big things. But we, the people of the world, would have benefited entirely. So think on this. This man ends up at a restaurant meeting it was a meeting. I believe it was stated that, there were individuals from another country or whatnot. And his brother was even there. And at one point, this man gets up, runs outside the restaurant, basically yells, "I've been poisoned," and dies. I don't care what the report says. An aneurysm and ruling out toxins. No poisons found in his body. Well, do you know there's legit poisons that will kill people that are untraceable? Untraceable. This is no secret. It exists. This man, clear as day, was murdered. But what really gets me, let me call out that whole generation. Now, I actually should look at the dates when this took place. I may have just been before my time, or I might have been in my first years of birth. But what a weak bleeping generation. I mean, just hear me out. The fact that all these people witnessed with their eyes, they saw. I mean, one of the news stations even went into his home, saw a bigger device that actually visually even showed what this creation he made for the engine was doing, how it was separating the hydrogen from the water itself to make a combustible material in a safe way. So he had all the science, everything behind it. But what blows my mind is because everything, when he dies, gets covered up, shelved, disappeared, it's gone. Clearly, because look, nothing came of it. And there's no reports that, it's because he's a snake oil salesman. That is not the outcome. You would think if our government and agencies were on behalf of we the people, we would have ensured the safety of this man's breakthrough, because this would have been an incredible blessing to this nation, an incredible blessing to all of its citizens. But we know better. With what we're exposing on this platform, we freaking know better. They don't care about us, and they would sell us out to get any type of gain on the world stage. We're infiltrated. We're corrupted. So it's wild. I want to call out the people in this weak generation, because it's what happened? I personally have a level of guilt within me. Then why did it take me to really speak out on this and basically state that the outcome of this very situation is unacceptable? Unacceptable. Why did it take me till 40 years old to come to this conclusion. So there's a level of guilt within me that why didn't I pick up on this when I was 16 or early 20s, 30s even? So for all of us, so anyone in that generation that knew and saw that live and can remember where they were when they were like, oh, hopeful, and they were excited, like, it's your choice. If you want to take offense to the words, that's your choice. That's out of my control. But you'd be missing the point and the opportunity of accountability and facing the person in the mirror, because I believe there's a bigger connection to be made, because it's like, why did we sit by and allow this to be the outcome? Like, oh yeah, I remember that, but then time goes on, and what is it? Was it the football and work and schooling and family and just all the selfish side of life that we just, well, yeah, that sucks. Like, we just let it disappear. We let these groups murder one of our fellow citizens that had a breakthrough, invention that would have revolutionized and benefited everyone, that would have gave us an astronomical amount of freedom. Similar, and this is what's crazy. Choose your poison. Choose your topic. There's so many situations, events, individual, corporation, groups, world powers, elites, you name it. Wars, systems, that we could dive into. Not necessarily this, like the pandemic or 9/11 being an inside job. Anything. Essentially, you could choose whatever you desire, essentially, that is completely unacceptable, an unacceptable outcome, and let that be enough to be able to face the person in the mirror and just stand and be like, no more. It's time to assemble. It's time to govern this country as one by we the people and get to the bottom of these things. But it blows my mind, even on this singular topic about this water-powered engine. I just had a moment of what a weak generation. Heck, just throw me in part of it. Even though I was 1, 2, and then now I'm 40. I was a part of the non-action up to this point, and I don't even care. I'm not seeking accolades. I just want to get to the freaking bottom of things. The outcome is egregiously unacceptable. And we allowed some company or individuals come in and just sweep up and steal all this hard man's work. I just want us to acknowledge that this is proof to the level of deterioration we have all been exposed to by the mass psychosis and the media and the poisoning of our bodies and minds, to where we're just good, compliant. We haven't been as free as we think we are. We've been trapped even in our own minds, manipulated into our own little boxes, because how on earth is that an acceptable outcome to even this just pretty black and white situation? This just gets shelved. I think it exposes just so much right there. And I just feel it's time for us all to seize the day. And if it feels overwhelming and you can't connect the dots as to Well, what difference are we going to make? How are we going to go about it? Then it's like, you got to up your resilience first, because I personally feel and can see how we could switch all of this. There's so many calls to action. There's so many more things. There's so much influence that each and every one of you can have that will either lead to saving souls, or B, riding this ship. But it's irrelevant whether we right this ship or not. At the point, we're saving souls and we're coming into fulfilling the very purpose as to why we're here, and living on behalf of our fellow brothers and sisters more than our freaking selves. Like, that's a beautiful accomplishment. Anywho, thank you for bearing with me on that rant. I freaking love you guys. I don't mean to come across crazy harsh or anything. I just want to, I want to be good cop, bad cop, freaking everything. I'm just trying to, I'm going to try my best to stay away from 4-letter words. Obviously, we come across quite a bit of the language and the clips and things like that. And disclaimer, there's definitely going to be more of that in this very episode. But, you know, like for certain folks, like whatever it takes for certain breakthroughs and to lift that veil or lift those blinders off, you know, don't mean to offend anybody, but we're to challenge ourselves. Like at the point, even, you know, I myself over anything, like am getting offended, even if you're pretty much in the right because you were trying to like help someone and they just whatever, like to take a second and be like, well, it doesn't matter. They're reacting. I don't understand, you know, what they've been through, but it's just an opportunity for the individual, like yourself, at the point, like you're taking offense. Like it's more important in that moment to look inward and really seek as to why you're even reacting that way. Because in what way, shape, or form is that going to better any situation? And I feel like that's the defective wiring our society has warped us into becoming to our own detriment, and perpetuating the very issues versus being more solution based and moving past these things. So now everyone's walking around wounded. Anyway, I just see how deteriorated we're at. Like, I guess in a way, that's the blessing of this Lyme disease that I'm starting as I'm healing and breaking through, having breakthrough. I'm able to acknowledge a lot of this within myself. And then I look around and like this very situation, like how is that outcome acceptable? There's so many situations where it's just like, and we just accepted that. We accepted the unacceptable. In like a two-tiered system. Like it's like our constitution's been out the window for some time now. And anyway, I just feel enough is enough, and it's time. It is time, folks. So let this be enlightening and encourage and light that fire within you, and reach out to me however I can improve and help maximize the efforts that are going into this by any means, from the communication side of things, the content side of things, the marketing, everything. I need your help. God bless you all. All right, so diving in, this is a pretty awesome quote. People don't realize how hard it is to speak the truth. to a world full of people that don't realize they're living a lie. Edward Snowden. It's very hard. Does it even matter what people think? No. It's just important that we stand strong and speak the truth no matter what. Okay. This is the title. Someone get this to Tucker Carlson ASAP. This exposes some of the things going on behind closed doors, and as to why our politicians and certain individuals seem to not be fulfilling the very things they ran on and what have you. So listen to this lady here.
Or too long to be able to clear those matters up.
May I say one little reported facet of my case is one of the federal agents involved in one of the operations against me said that they intended to plant child porn in my husband's computer. This is the FBI.
The FBI.
There's been a case that's currently in litigation, unrelated, in which an FBI agent has testified that they did that. They have done that. It was not accomplished in my case. I guess the curtain was drawn on that facet of the operation prior to them doing it. But imagine how you ever get out of that. They knew we had a young daughter at home and has allegedly conspired to do that.
We got to abolish these agencies that have been infiltrated. There needs to be proper checks and balances from we the people. These institutions and agencies have gone unchecked for obviously far too long, and they're egregiously abusing their abilities. And what's wild, we're funding it. And they could just plant whatever, and they're now Serbians, like just fulfilling clearly with the connections you can see, the globalists' agenda. Those are the ones that infiltrated these. I'm not fearful of them. Once again, this is where it boils down to when one values spiritual life and death over this mortal, because we're all mortally freaking visiting here, then it's more than encouragement to like speak out on this. You just are able to, I don't know, it's just great blessing, folks. More bone-chilling reality. Members of Congress are terrified of these intel agencies. And he's not guessing it. This is what he has been told. So let's actually listen to Tucker revealing some of this. And it gives us some insight behind the scenes and enlightenment as to, wow, okay, that makes sense. But it also highlights the importance for all of us to fix and correct these issues.
Members of Congress are terrified of the intel agencies. I'm not guessing at that. They've told me that, including people on the Intel Committee, including people who run the Intel Committee, the people whose job it is to oversee and keep in line these enormous, secretive agencies whose budgets we can't even know. They're black budgets. They're the parents. The agencies are the children. They're afraid of the agencies. That's not compatible with democracy.
No, it's not.
Democracy is a really simple system, even representative democracy like ours. The people rule. They do so through elections. They express their preference through voting. They send their people to the capital city to run the government on their behalf. Whenever you have unelected people who are not accountable to anyone making the biggest decisions, you don't have a democracy, you have something else. Another system, I would call it a tyranny or whatever you want to call it. It's not a democracy. So that's like super obvious. It's playing out in front of everyone and no one cares and no one does anything about it. And I think the reason is because they're threatened. And if you look at the committee chairmen who allow this shit to happen year after year, they're all, and I don't know, people say, oh, they're compromised or being blackmailed or whatever. I don't have evidence of that, but I know them. And they all have things to hide.
We actually
I know
do. I mean, even what Carrie Lake recently exposed. But there's lots of individuals just like that lady. We just played the clip. We do have evidence of that.
For a fact. And so it's not a stretch of imagination to imagine that, some committee chairman who's allowing warrantless spying on Americans to continue, or whatever abuse they're allowing, knowing fully or hiding the truth about UAPs, ignoring the UAP Disclosure Act of 2023. Like, why are they doing that? It's not impossible to imagine that some guy with a drinking problem or a weird sex life, and that's very common up there, that's why they're doing it. Because they don't want to be exposed. I don't have evidence of that. I don't have proof of that.
Right.
But that's not a crazy thing to assume that could be happening. And I said to somebody, a very powerful person, the other day in a conversation in my kitchen, an elected official, holds a really senior position, a very famous person. I was going crazy. I was so mad about all this stuff and about the warrantless spying and about the funding for these insane wars. And I said to the guy who serves in one of the legislative bodies, I got so mad my dogs were afraid. They're like, well, why are you yelling? Because I don't yell at home. But I was like, all these people are controlled. They're all, got weird sex lives and all these things are hiding and they're being blackmailed by financial agencies. And he said, and I'm quoting, I know. Was like, okay, so at this point we're just sort of admitting that's real? Like, why do we allow that to continue?
I know. Yeah, why? Assessor says that. Why are we allowing this degeneracy, this evil, this corruption to continue? Why? We don't have to. And it is well within our rights and well within our control, well within our ability to minimize all the shenanigans, folks. I'd like to get to the bottom of, let's find that fellow's buggy. Let's find his research. Among so many other things. There's obviously way more important things than that, but man, I feel like we owe that to his family. I'm sure the billions he was offered was to shelf his product. It was bigger than money, it seems, to that man, because he wanted to bless your life, all of our lives. And he wanted this product out. That's what it seems he was fighting for. To not allow it into the wrong hands, is he's even spoke out on in some of his interviews. Unacceptable, folks. I love this man's passion. Labeled the absolute greatest 5 minutes. It's pretty freaking darn good. Let this fuel you, ignite the fire, and his passion really captures enough is enough.
I think I just have to say it like this. I don't know about you, but I'm tired. I am worn out. I am fed up. I've had enough.
Yes.
I am tired of exposing corruption, doing our homework, going overseas and having documents translated to make sure they're exactly right, presenting the evidence. We know what's happening, except then once we expose it, nothing happens.
Right.
Nobody goes to jail.
Right.
Nobody pays for a damn thing anymore. Nothing. If you and I did half the things that people in Washington do every day, you and I would go to prison.
Yep.
Clinton got away with it.
Right.
Even the left knew that the Clinton Foundation was dirty.
Right.
They sold uranium to our biggest enemy, Russia. Nothing. Right. No. She can take confidential, top secret emails and put them on her server at her home. Something you and I would go to prison for.
Right.
We would be in prison for the rest of our lives. Not a big deal.
Right.
Benghazi? No. Not only did we show you that we were gun running to a group in Syria that became ISIS, that's what we were doing in Benghazi. Not only that, but just the killing of a U.S.
Gosh dang it. Why am my keyboard not working? Wasn't pausing when I wanted it to. I apologize. I'm over it. But so many things. I mean, with the Clinton and the BlackBerry and smashing and God, to dive into the connections and the money and the foundation and even the personal relations. It's no joke. Like, you go after and expose the Clintons, you end up on a freaking list, and you end up killing yourself. You end up with two bullets to the back of your head, which surprisingly a lot of people are able to do. No, they're being murdered. So it is insane, the numbers that are connected to that family. Just evil.
Benghazi? No. Not only did we show you that we were gun running to a group in Syria that became ISIS, that's what we were doing in Benghazi.
Right.
Not only that, but just the killing of a U.S. ambassador, and, might I point out, on Veterans Day, we abandon our troops. Did anything happen? Nope. Nothing. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of actually being open and saying, okay, well, let's look into the spying on this presidential candidate. That's a pretty hefty charge. Were they doing it? And then finding out, yes, they were, and nothing happens.
And they're going to do it again.
He was colluding with Russia. My gosh, that should be the biggest scandal of all time if that were true. If it wasn't true, and it was started, and evidence, paperwork even showed that they knew,
right,
all the way to the White House.
Right.
You'd think that would be even a bigger story.
Wasting our money.
Lying to the FISA courts, nothing.
Right.
Creating an enemies list, nothing. Using our own intelligence agents.
And the FISA courts just passed the whole FISA got passed in the courts again, folks. In this dire state, they're going to take millions and millions of our tax dollars. Do I have to yell on this microphone again? Stop paying our enemies. Well, here we are. Is what it is. It's not something ideally to do, but it must be done. Because the reality of this platform, Unmuzzled Chat, we are not going to conform and fall in line and be cowards to tyrannical platforms. So I'm so sorry to disrupt this episode. This is specifically for the YouTube crowd. An opportunity. We'd like to extend an invitation yet again to Rumble, a free speech platform. Come join us. We don't care your political views. We don't care your origins, all that freaking stats or whatever you want to freaking call it. Come join us. Have the conversations. View this episode and all further content in its entirety. There are bombshell episodes, like probably this one. You need to check this one and others out on Rumble. It's no secret. YouTube now has shown its colors. Freaking Nazi platform trying to control information, withhold information that could save lives. 100%. They don't care about you. They care about their funders and appeasing them. It's sad, but it just is the way it is. And I just sure hope through what I've even dealt with here, and many other patriots and many other people using this platform for truthful information and have been censored. It's just, when is enough? Okay? Let's stand strong now. Come join us. There's amazing content. We're going to get to the bottom of things. We want to find out what in fact is truthful and helpful for our mental states, our physical states, just our well-being in general. And we can't do it on this platform, unfortunately. Now, there's been whispers that maybe Elon will buy the YouTube, buy Facebook, and liberate it, similar to what has taken place on X, formerly known as Twitter. Is it perfect? Is everything perfect? No. But we, the people, can support the ones on our behalf, like just by our views, clicks, likes, and we must stand strong on this. I sure hope you see the level of importance here and that we can unite. Let's create this community. Join us. Come on the podcast. Comment. Let's get things rocking and rolling. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you over there. God bless you.